setting forth how the beasts of chase told the lion to trust in God and cease from exerting himself. A number of beasts of chase in a pleasant valley were harassed by a lion. Inasmuch as the lion was springing from ambush and carrying them away, that pasturage had become unpleasant to them all. They made a plot. They came to the lion, saying, "We will keep thee full-fed by means of a fixed allowance. Do not go after any prey beyond thy allowance, in order that this grass may not become bitter to us." How the lion answered the beasts and explained the advantage of exertion. "Yes," said he, "if I find good faith on your part, not fraud, for often have I suffered, frauds from Zayd and Bakr. I am done to death by the cunning and fraud of men, I am bitten by the sting of human, snake and scorpion, but, worse than all men in fraud and spite is the man of the flesh, nafs, lying in wait within me. My ear heard the believer is not bitten, twice, and adopted this saying of the Prophet with heart and soul." How the beasts asserted the superiority of trust in God to exertion and acquisition. They all said, "O knowing sage, let precaution alone, it is of no avail against the divine decree. In precaution is the embroilment of broil and woe, go, put thy trust in God is better. Do not grapple with destiny, O fierce and furious one, lest destiny also pick a quarrel with thee. One must be dead in presence of the decree of God, so that no blow may come from the Lord of the daybreak." How the lion upheld the superiority of exertion and acquisition to trust in God and resignation. "Yes," he said, "but, if trust in God is the true guide, yet use of the means too is the Prophet's rule, Sunnah. The Prophet said with a loud voice, while trusting in God bind the knee of thy camel. Hearken to the signification of the earner, worker, is beloved of God, through trusting in God do not become neglectful as to the ways and means." How the beasts preferred trust in God to exertion. The party of beasts answered him, saying, "Regard acquisition, work, arising from the infirmity of God's creatures, as a mouthful of deceit proportionate to the size of the gullet. There is no work better than trust in God. What, indeed, is dearer to God than resignation? Often do they flee from affliction, only to fall into affliction, often do they recoil from the snake, only to meet with the dragon. Man devised something, and his device was a snare, wherein he was trapped. That which he thought to be life was, actually, the drainer of his blood, his destroyer. He locked the door while the foe was in the house. The plot of Pharaoh was a story of this sort. That vengeful man slew hundreds of thousands of babes, while the one he was searching after was in his, Pharaoh's, house. Since in our foresight, there is much defect, go, let your own sight pass away, Fana, in the sight of the friend, God. His sight for ours, what a goodly recompense. In his sight you will find the whole object of your desire. So long as the child could neither grasp, exert strength, nor run, he had nothing to ride on but his father's neck. When he became a busybody and plied hand and foot, exerted himself, he fell into trouble and wretchedness. The spirits of created beings, before the creation of hand and foot, by reason of their faithfulness were flying in the realm of purity. When they were constrained by the divine command, "Get ye down," they became engaled in anger and covetousness and contentment. We are the family of the Lord and craving after milk, like infants. He, the Prophet, said, the people are God's family. He who gives rain from heaven is also able, from his mercy, to give us bread. How the lion again pronounced exertion to be superior to trust in God. "Yes," said the lion, "but the Lord of his servants set a ladder before our feet. Step by step must we climb towards the roof. To be a necessitarian here is, to indulge in foolish hopes. You have feet, why do you make yourself out to be lame? You have hands, why do you conceal the fingers, whereby you grasp? When the master put a spade in the slave's hand, his object was made known to him, the slave, without a word falling from his tongue. Hand and spade alike are his, God's, implicit signs, our powers of thinking upon the end are his explicit declarations. When you take his signs to heart, you will devote your life to fulfilling that indication of his will. He will give you many hints, for the understanding of mysteries. He will remove the burden from you and give you spiritual authority. Do you bear his burden? He will cause you to be borne aloft. Do you receive his commands? He will cause you to be received into his favor. If you accept his command, you will become the spokesman thereof. If you seek union with him, thereafter you will become united. Free will is the endeavor to thank God for his beneficence. Your necessitarianism is the denial of that beneficence. Thanksgiving for the power of acting freely increases your power. Necessitarianism takes the divine gift of free will out of your hand. Your necessitarianism is like sleeping on the road. Do not sleep. Sleep not until you see the gate and the threshold. Beware. Do not sleep, O inconsiderate necessitarian, save underneath that fruit-laden tree, so that every moment the wind may shake the boughs and shower upon the sleeper spiritual dessert and provision for the journey. Necessitarianism is to sleep amidst highwaymen. How should the untimely bird receive quarter? And if you turn up your nose at his signs, you deem yourself a man, but when you consider more deeply, you are only a woman. This measure of understanding which you possess is lost. A head from which the understanding is severed becomes a tail, because ingratitude is wickedness and disgrace and brings the ingrate to the bottom of hellfire. If you are putting trust in God, put trust in him as regards your work. Sow the seed, then rely upon the Almighty. How the beasts once more asserted the superiority of trust in God to exertion. They all lifted up their voices to dispute with him, saying, those covetous ones who sowed the seed of means. Myriads on myriads of men and women, why, then, did they remain deprived of fortune? From the beginning of the world myriads of generations have opened 100 mouths, like dragons. Those clever people devised plots of such power that the mountain thereby was torn up from its foundation. The glorious God described their plots when he said, though their guile be such that the tops of the mountains might be moved thereby. But, except the portion which came to pass, was predestined, in eternity, nothing showed its face, accrued to them, from their scheming and doing. They all fell from, failed in, plan and act, the acts and decrees of the Maker remained. O illustrious one, do not regard work as aught but a name. O cunning one, think not that exertion is aught but a vain fancy. How Azrael looked at a certain man, and how that man fled to the palace of Solomon, and setting forth the superiority of trust in God to exertion and the uselessness of the latter. One forenoon a freeborn, noble, man arrived and ran into Solomon's hall of justice. His countenance pale with anguish and both lips blue. Then Solomon said, good sir, what is the matter? He replied, Azrael cast on me such a look, so full of wrath and hate. Come, said the king, what boon do you desire now? Ask it. O protector of my life, said he, command the wind to bear me from here to India. Maybe, when thy slave is come thither he will save his life. Lo, the people are fleeing from poverty, hence are they a mouthful for, a prey to, covetousness and expectation. The fear of poverty is like that, man's, terror. Know thou that covetousness and striving are, like, India, in this tale. He, Solomon, commanded the wind to bear him quickly over the water to the uttermost part of India. Next day, at the time of conference and meeting, Solomon said to Azrael, didst thou look with anger on that Moslem in order that he might wander, as an exile, far from his home? Azrael said, when did I look on him angrily? I saw him as I passed by, and looked at him, in astonishment, for God had commanded me, saying, hark, today do thou take his spirit in India. From wonder I said, to myself, even, if he has 100 wings, 'tis a far journey for him to be in India, today. In like manner judge of all the affairs of this world and open your eye and see. From whom shall we flee? From ourselves? Oh, absurdity! From whom shall we take ourselves away? From God. Oh, crime! How the lion again declared exertion to be superior to trust in God and expounded the advantages of exertion. Yes, said the lion, but at the same time consider the exertions of the prophets and the true believers. God, exalted is He, prospered their exertion in what they suffered of oppression and heat and cold. Their plans were excellent in all circumstances, everything done by a goodly man is goodly. Their snares caught the heavenly bird, all their deficiencies turned to increment. O Master, exert thyself so long as thou canst in, following, the way of the prophets and saints. Endeavor is not a struggle with destiny, because destiny itself has laid this, endeavor, upon us. I am an infidel if anyone has suffered loss a single moment, while walking, in the way of faith and obedience. Your head is not broken, do not bandage this head. Exert yourself, in doing good works, for a day or two, i.e. during this brief life, and laugh unto everlasting. An evil resort sought he that sought this world, a good state sought he that sought the world to come. Plots for gaining, the things of, this world are worthless, but, plots for renouncing this world are inspired, by God. The right plot is that he, the prisoner, digs a hole in his prison, in order to escape. If he blocks up the hole, that is a foolish plot. This world is the prison, and we are the prisoners. Dig a hole in the prison and let yourself out. What is this world? To be forgetful of God, it is not merchandise and silver and weighing scales and women. As regards the wealth that you carry for religion's sake, how good is righteous wealth, for the righteous man, as the prophet recited. Water in the boat is the ruin of the boat, but, water underneath the boat is a support. Since he cast out from his heart, the desire for, wealth and possessions, on that account Solomon did not call himself, by any name, but poor. The stoppered jar, though, in rough water, floated on the water because of its wind-filled, empty, heart. When the wind of poverty is within any one, he rests at peace on the surface of the water of the world, although the whole of this world is his kingdom, in the eye of his heart the kingdom is nothing. Therefore stopper and seal the mouth of your heart, and fill it from the inward ventilator. Exertion is a reality, and medicine and disease are realities. The skeptic in his denial of exertion practiced, and thereby affirmed, exertion. How the superiority of exertion to trust in God was established. The lion gave many proofs in this style, so that those necessitarians became tired of answering him. Fox and deer and hare and jackal abandoned the doctrine of necessity and ceased from disputation. They made covenants with the furious lion, ensuring that he should incur no loss in this bargain, that the daily ration should come to him without trouble, and that he should not need to make a further demand. Day by day the one on whom the lot fell would run to the lion as swiftly as a cheetah. When this cup of death came round to the hare cried out, "Why, how long are we to endure this injustice?" How the beasts of chase blamed the hare for his delay in going to the lion. The company of beasts said to him, "All this time we have sacrificed our lives in troth and loyalty. Do not thou seek to give us a bad name, O rebellious one. Lest the lion be aggrieved, go, go. Quick! Quick!" How the hare answered the beasts. "O friends," said he, "grant me a respite, that by my cunning ye may escape from calamity, that by my cunning your lives may be saved, and this safety remain as a heritage to your children." Every prophet amidst the peoples used to call them after this manner to a place of deliverance, for he had seen from heaven the way of escape, though, in their sight he was contracted, despicable, like the pupil of the eye. Men regarded him as small like the pupil, none attained to understanding of the real greatness, worth, of the pupil. How the beasts objected to the proposal of the hare. The company of beasts said to him, "O donkey, listen to us. Keep thyself within the measure of a hare. What brag is this, an idea, which thy betters never brought into their minds? Thou art self-conceited, or destiny is pursuing us, else, how is this speech suitable to one like thee?